Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail.
Oh, hey, everybody. Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. I'm Dr. Pat. It's so great to be connecting with all of you today, and shout out to both Benny and Jessica for this beautiful morning. Powerful show too, right, B?
Yeah, that's right. It's the B&J, PB&J. See, Pat, Benny, Jessica, and
okay, I got
of
that.
Matt.
Yeah, PB. Okay, yeah. One
All
question
right,
for you. Is it smooth or chunky?
Chunky all the way.
Yeah, chunky.
Nuts to nuts, all nuts.
Yeah, Jessica, are you smooth or chunky, Jessica? The peanut butter.
You know,
Linda's smooth.
I love peanut butter, so I'll go with I'd go with the chunky probably.
Okay, 3 chunkies, 1 monkey. No, 3 chunkies, 1 smooth. 1 smooth. Welcome, everybody. I am Dr. Pat. I have a very special guest today, and why? So here's where we are, guys. This is it. How many of you are still kind of holding your breath, sucking it up, not wanting to talk about what ails you? Just keep popping that antacid in your stomach. Or maybe you're not sure what to do. Your brain is not working the way it was. Somebody told you it was because you were getting older and you're 35 years old. So just a little common sense there about that. But the bottom line is, when you work with somebody and you understand at an early time that there are things at the root going on, then you find a solution that's not a pill, potion, lotion fix. You get at the thing that is most causing you angst. It's the thing that, you hear your relatives talk about, cuss about how lousy they feel. In the world we live in today, I have extraordinary experience with new technology over the past 20 years. And today, Mary Jane Mack, my very special guest, she helps people of all ages, not just from her gift, her talent, medical intuitive, but beyond all of that. She is one of the leaders in technology that is out in the world today that can address things that general conventional medicine cannot. But we know that, right? We've heard about these things. Mary Jane Mack is also, of course, this holistic and intuitive wellness coach. But beyond all that, she brings in a depth of knowledge, everything from using amazingly tech, frequency, you name it, to her own experience about what nutrition can do if targeted specifically on what's going on. And then secondarily, the highest grade. And when when we talk about the highest grade of things, you all know what that is. You know what it tastes like when you put a low grade piece of meat on the plate or a filet mignon. And that's what today's show is about. How do you get on the fast track to wellness with the latest technology? Mary Jane, it's great to have you here. We're going to talk about a couple of things today, aren't we?
Yes, it's great to be here. It's great to let people know what's available because they have no idea.
Yeah. But even in the world we're living in, you were way out in front years ago with this. There are a lot of people now catching up. They understand a bit, not a whole lot. But what was it about your journey where you got connected to all of these leading edge approaches to help people be amazing in their lives?
Well, for one thing, I was a member of the Master Circle, which was actually a chiropractic management group, and I was the only non-chiropractor. I used to go to those seminars, and they were so informative, and I got so much information that I asked if I could be a member. And they said, well, we've never had anybody not a chiropractor, so we'll have to think about it. And then they called me and said, you're in. So I was a member of Master Circle since 2005. And going to those seminars, you learn about the latest technology because they always have the best and the people who are leading in their field, in every field, neurology, whatever it might be. And it's all what I learned through working with Master Circle, it's really all about the brain. If you take care of the brain, because the brain is in charge of the body, and often everybody's treating the physical symptoms, but if the brain is in low gear and not functioning, the other areas don't catch up as easily. So by working on the brain, like using Brain Tap and Resumex and connecting the brain with the body, everything happens much faster. And then the second part of that is the frequency machines, and Resumex is frequency. And then we use Wellness Pro, which is a frequency machine, and Stimpod also frequency. And it's those current and frequencies that connect to the body, specific areas that can heal them faster. When you're not guessing and you go in there and you program exactly what's going on with you, you have great results.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. I was thinking back, I was talking to a publisher type person, and, they started to ask me a lot of questions. And, I started to talk about the fact that had it not been for working with you and several other people in an arena that I had nothing about, nothing, I wouldn't be here today. And I certainly wouldn't be here vibrantly of any sorts. I may be walking around, kind of like the Walking Dead. And some days that's true. Mary Jane will say that too. She'll say, "Oh, okay, you're kind of like really Walking Dead too." No, she would never say that. But the point of all of this is we can be vibrant and healthy, can't we?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's like the new clients I've had in the past 2 weeks. Each one of them said they've been to so many doctors. They still have the same problem, digestive and bloating. And they were about to give up, and somehow they found out about me. And what I told
Yeah.
them made so much sense. They said that makes so much sense. Exactly. It's like you really understand what's going on with me. And I said, it's your body in muscle testing that tells me exactly what the issue is. And
Yeah.
that's why we have such great results.
There's a quote from you on your website. I want to review this with people because I want them to understand a little bit more about the depth of who you are. Certainly, there's not enough time in this show to really go into all your experience, but you do have experience. You have experience in what do they call it? Crisis wards of hospitals, or what do they call them? Trauma wards?
Trauma, yeah.
Trauma. Yep. But there's a quote on your site that many people may think, wow, okay, this is who she is. And it's this: change your thinking. Energy or vibrational research increasingly underscores the inseparable connection and dynamic interaction between the physical, the metaphysical in their diverse dimensions. We stress holistic nutrition counseling, wholeness to achieve optimal health, wellness for mind, body, spirit. So you're bringing those elements into play. And let me add a fourth. We got to just change the website. Emotional. So when people work with you, it's a complete holistic. Let's talk about what holistic means, because you take all of those into consideration. How's your mind doing? How's your body doing? What spirit play, and emotionally, where are you? And I want to talk for a minute about the emotional side of what you do, because it's such an important piece, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And when I'm checking people, I'm actually checking them for emotions, structure, and nutrition of their body. And when they tell me what is going on with them or tell me their story, often I'll go back to it. Sometimes when it really stands out, something like a heart issue or anxiety. A lot of young people have anxiety. The first thing I think about is emotional. Like what happened to you? And I can muscle test and say, what happened to you 5 years ago? And bingo, they'll say, oh, that's when I was in school and a teacher told me that I couldn't make it and I wasn't going to be any good. And my friends were all against me. So they know exactly what it is. So when we find that, it's really important to clear that emotion, identify it so it makes sense to them, and then clear it. Because it would be from that time that they start having the physical symptoms and problems. So, and that makes sense to them. And so we clear it using neuroemotional technique, which is Scott Walker technique. And it's a very simple technique, and we could clear it in a matter of minutes. And then we can see if there's anything else. But by clearing the emotion and them looking at that, they get better faster.
Yeah. You know, Mary Jane, one of the things too, and for those of you out there, if you want to get some insight today with Mary Jane, 1-800-930-2819, we're opening up the phone lines for you to call in, ask questions, get checked out. One of the things that is so important about this is the idea that we're more than just our skin. We're more than that. And let's talk about the frequency and vibration of things in our body, because that's what this latest technology points to. You know, it points to, well, you may have this going on. For example, let's just start with inflammation. Inflammation, everybody's got inflammation now, but inflammation. And you come out and you say, I'm going to run the inflammation program. Let's talk about the power of very specific targeted frequencies to really address a very specific part of the body. Tell us more about the technology, and especially when we're talking about the Resemax, the Wellness Pro, the Stimpod. How do they work for people to nail that specific thing?
Well, speaking about the frequency, we're going to talk more about, to start with the Wellness Pro Plus. The Wellness Pro Plus is a frequency machine. And if people know any about frequency machines, they'll remember the Rife machine.
Oh, yeah.
The Rife machine was the original. Dr. Rife invented that Rife machine. And what he discovered was certain frequencies would affect certain parts of the body, and people would get better faster if you could deliver that frequency to the body. So it's the Wellness Pro is exactly that. And it has 2,000 programs programmed into it. So whether you have diabetes or inflammation or gallbladder, bile duct, whatever you have, there's a frequency specific for that issue. And what I find is so many people have gallbladder and bile duct issues. When we use the frequency machine, with nutrition, it can take 6 to 8 weeks to get that cleared up. With the frequency machine, we could do that in a couple weeks. It's just amazing the results we have with it. Yeah. So it's like, why take what everything is about? People want to feel good sooner rather than later. So that's why I've gotten into all this technology. And the other thing is people keep repeating the same thing. But with the technology, it raises the body vibration. If you have the right frequency, now you're jamming at a higher level, and you're thinking different, you're feeling different, and everything is better faster. So that the Wellness Pro, since I started using that, and we've had amazing results. An example would be we had somebody come in last week who had an injury. She fell actually last February, and she came in on crutches. And she said, I know I should have come in sooner. I said, wow. I said, she had really a lot of things going on. And so she could hardly walk. Her knee was totally swollen. Put her in the chair. First, I did the Stimpod. The Stimpod is a technology that works on the nerves. So it's also delivering a radio frequency to the nerve. And what it does is disconnects that nerve so the nerve can regenerate and heal. You don't hurt. There's no side effects to what I do. I mean, none. You either hit the right nerve and get results, or you work at it and find it. So anyway, I did the Stimpod on her and then hooked up to the Wellness Pro for pain and inflammation. She came in with crutches. She walked out without the crutches.
Wow.
She came in 3 more times, and she was back to her running and doing everything she wanted to do. in a total of 4 visits. Now that's pretty amazing, where it would have taken her, no matter what she did, quite a while. And she was doing other things for other body work and other things, but she wasn't hitting what she needed to recover. But
Yeah.
that's just one example. So that's like, you got a swollen knee. How long does that take to get better for the normal person? When we could do it in one treatment.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and when you do these treatments and, everything is still working like for 32 hours after you have the treatment. So you keep getting more. At first, you might not notice something, but it gets better and better.
Yeah. It's interesting. I want to make a shout out about this. It's not just about people. You also use this technology and your gifts, your talents on our animal friends too. I mean, we are talking about people, but it's not just for people.
No, but the Resimex is another technology that you work on. It's a vibrational technique, and that connects the body to the brain. That tool is like incredible, incredible. Sherrick Peck, who discovered that tool, it's about 4 or 5 years ago. He worked on it a long time. Now it's in over 92 countries.
Wow.
Used for horses, cats, dogs, with incredible results.
Yeah.
Pulling them out of, like horses out of colic. But dogs, I mean, you got a nervous dog, you use the Resimex on them, calms them down. And people will tell me, oh, I could never do that to my dog. Well, when people say that, it's not a dog problem. That's a people problem.
Yeah. Well, let's just be very clear about what the Resimex is. I mean, you can go, y'all listening, go to maryjanemack.com and you'll see everything that we're talking about there, including a really interesting diagram and video on waves, whether they're beta waves, whether they're delta, theta, gamma. You'll see an interesting diagram and video. But the Resimex is, I get this question a lot. The Resimex is a small device. I sleep with mine. Some days I sleep with mine on and I just put it right on my chest and there we go. The science behind this, it's as if we fast forwarded to a future of healing that was just a dream a decade ago. We're now here, aren't we? These are just a few things, but we're here in a way, right?
The Resimex was developed after the purr of a cat. The purr of the cat vibration is the most healing vibration there is. I thought that was fascinating.
That is fascinating. Yeah. And I hadn't thought about that, but you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something that happens when you're around, a cat that is in that state of being. I call it a state of being, right? Because yeah. When a cat purrs, they're like in a zone.
But the Resimex, when we're talking about the Resimex Wellness Pro and Stimpod, we're talking about anything from a minor issue to major issues. For example, neuropathy. Using the Resimex for neuropathy, and all these great people work together. Like Sherrick works with the Stimpod people. Everybody works together. And it's called neurostacking. When you use all the technology, even the brain tap, with people, they get better faster. So the more you can do to get their brain lit up, the better they do. But the other thing that the Resimex is really good for is restless leg syndrome. And most people have nothing for restless leg syndrome. And I know for a fact, I had somebody who had serious restless leg, and I did the Resimex on them, and I did it one time, very deep and serious, and they stopped having restless leg syndrome if you do it right. Most people are a little too gentle on themselves, so I'll have them come in and I'll do it to them to show them how to do it. But neuropathy, serious problems, injured shoulders, surgeries that they've had, major injuries. I mean, there's so many things, gallbladder, bile duct, constipation. There's so many things you could use it for that's so versatile because it's just getting the body woke up and working again.
Yeah. I mean, these are all what we're looking at now is a full circle approach. I want to touch upon something you just mentioned, and I want to spend some time on the brain tap. I've mentioned the brain tap, especially on my show with Mark. You know, the show we do at 4 o'clock is one of those shows where they tune in to chat with Mark, but they're also looking for real life solutions. Fabulous audience. And, you know, half the time there's something happening on their end that hasn't been addressed. I would say 50% we have emotional, we have thinking issue. You know what I'm saying? Our thoughts, our perception. My experience with the brain tap is that there is a way to transform your mind, your thinking, many ways to do that for what ails you. Tell us a little bit about the brain tap, because I found that is one of the most powerful tools out there that an individual can use for themselves, meaning I don't have to go to a hypnotherapist or somebody to do that. Tell us about the brain tap.
The brain tap is like, I mean, I do 3 brain taps every day. I mean, I never miss. I just do it every day. What the brain tap is, your brain, right and left side of your brain, has different brain waves. Well, when people are just normal people going about their business, not doing anything, those brain waves aren't functioning. They're not going from right to left. So you have very little frequency in your brain. So what the brain tap is specific frequencies to open up those brain paths, the delta, the theta, to make your brain function better so that you can be better at whatever it is. And the brain tap has like over 2,000 programs, I think now. It has a lot of programs on there.
Yeah.
And that's for business, for self-care, for health, for weight loss, for sleep. And it's like listening to your own personal meditation or your own guide. Like, it's like self-hypnosis. So it's very relaxing. You put a headset on, it's got lights in it, because the window to the brain is through the eyes. And so you have a voice, it can be dual voices or single voices. It's very relaxing. And then they have music, they have all kinds of programs. But we have a way to measure, we do a heart rate variability. We have a way to measure before you start care where you're at, and like 6 weeks later, how much you've changed.
Yeah.
And that tells us how your brain is functioning, if your metabolism is working. It gives us a whole good view of the change. Even sometimes people say, you know, they'll say, well, I'm not sure how much I changed. And you know, they go along every day. You ask them, you know, in normal in life, I mean, before they come to us, like, how are you? Everybody says, well, I'm okay. I'm okay. It's the same old story. But when you start asking a little more detail, well, tell me what's the difference between now and a week ago? Then they start thinking a little differently about it.
Yeah.
So the brain tap is like incredible. It's used by all athletes, professional football teams. Tom Brady is big on brain tap, huge on brain tap. Tom Brady has an organization, and brain tap is big, you know, really involved with that organization because he has everybody using the brain tap.
Yeah.
And what they did was a study on the football players, like jet lag. When they're traveling across the country, if they use brain tap on the plane and then brain tap before the game, and then they have the game, and then afterwards they would do a heart rate variability to see how well they were and do another brain tap. And they would, by the time they got home, their brain was totally normal from using the brain. When they did use the brain tap, they had jet lag, they didn't do as well, didn't perform. So that, and it's used by all kinds of athletes all around the country.
Yeah, I want to just say another thing about it. So for those of you out there, do you know how many negative and positive thoughts you have in a day?
Yeah.
We'll talk about this, because when we're talking about the brain tap, it's not just a solution for you to change a behavior, but you're rewiring your brain. And for those that are out there that feel depressed, that feel depleted, there's something for you. If you want to be energized and really have a vision of your future, I'm telling you, There are ways using the brain tap that it will remind you. And Mary Jane's right. 3 times a day, it's really not a whole lot out of your day at all. And so what are the changes you can expect? You manifest more, you handle stress better, all of those things. And, part of this is understanding exactly what's going on. That's what Mary Jane Mack does. Yeah. Mary Jane, what is the best way for people to get a hold of you? What's your phone number? Also, MaryJaneMack.com.
Yes, and it's 888-777-4232.
We're going to take a short break. When we come back, how does this all relate? What is it about changing your mind that perhaps may be the first thing that you do? And how many of you try to do it alone? The other thing I want to say, if you're out there and you want Mary Jane to really help you pinpoint something in your body, we'll do this in the show today. Simple toll-free number, 1-800-930-2819. Give us a call. When we come back, what is the brain-body connection? And what does Mary Jane Mack do to make sure that those elements and more are in harmony? Let's take a short break, everybody. We'll be right back. You come from different world, but come from another galaxy. We're like, at least that's what I found out in my past life regression. Like, hello, what an eye-opener that was. But that's for another show. Today, Mary Jane Mack is joining us. We can't emphasize enough the interrelationship between mind, body, spirit, and the emotions that go on. Power versus Force is one of the first books that was handed to me many, many, many years ago.
Yeah.
Right. And,
Yeah.
and somehow the title of the book got me to read the book. And what I found in there was, the idea of the emotional plane and the body plane. And, of course, that book also addressed addiction. But in today's world, all of this comes together. MaryJaneMack.com is the website. What's your phone number at the office there, Mary Jane?
888-777-4232. That's the toll-free number.
All right. So I want to we talked about the brain tap, and of course, there's a great diagram about brain waves, and it explains everything, but it's hard to explain something until you experience. And I hope people call Mary Jane and really talk about that. But let's bring it now down to, very specific treatments. And that's why I want to talk about the Wellness Pro. My experience with it in coming into your office is it had a program for just about what's ailing me, right? Everything
Exactly.
from using it on my feet to other parts of the body. So talk about how that works and how do you evaluate which layer to do first, so to speak.
Well, when somebody comes in and I do my evaluation, I do a muscle testing technique and evaluate what's going on with them. And then from that and listening to their story, I put it together. And I actually, your body has all the answers. It's not me. I'm looking at your body to find out what it is, whether it's emotional, structural, or nutritional. So everything is emotional, by the way. Talked about emotions. Every emotion causes that you stuff into an organ. And then when that organ is so full, then it presents with symptoms. For example, liver is anger, gallbladder is resentment, kidney is fear, bladder's ticked off, stomach's disgusted, lungs are grief, heart is sad. So when you have that, and if you keep experiencing the same emotion, you'll keep having like a gallbladder and bile duct issue. So when somebody comes in, first I determine what is the issue, what can we do to get this going faster. And if, for example, if it's a gallbladder and bile duct, we're going to do a program for that. And if they have stones, we could do a program with that too. And what I find is we have incredible results with people doing that a couple times in a row. Instead of 6 to 8 weeks on the nutrition, it could shorten it up to a couple weeks. Depends on how bad they are. If they're stones, we might have to do a couple more sessions. But it's much faster than the way we used to do it with technology. So what you do is we just program the program into the machine, and you sit in this chair, lounge chair, sit back, relax, put on some music, and you actually either hold cylinders. Sometimes if and we put pads on your feet. It depends on what part of the body we're working on. If it's waist up, it's just the cylinders. If it's whole body, we put pads on the feet also. So everything is specific for where you're at to get the best results. And some programs are maybe 15 minutes, some are 30, some 45, but we usually set you up for an hour with the Wellness Pro and
Yeah.
run the programs you need during that time.
Yeah. See, one of the things that we're talking about here, which is very different from how we've looked at holistic healing, is that you address the thing, Mary Jane, you take the thing that's up first, for lack of a better term. You take the first thing that's up first, meaning, once you've looked at someone, you're able to zoom in and say, that's your gallbladder. What we need to do with that is first. And this is a part of what I think we should mention, because all of this new technology, everything we're talking about, really addresses layers of things. Just because you go through and you get this one thing done, that clears itself out, and then the next thing. And I want you to talk about that, because we think we just woke up one day and we feel lousy, but it's been a lifetime, right?
Exactly. And then there's the people that keep going round and round with the same thing. And I've had some clients, they say, okay, I'm feeling better. I'm going to do this on my own. And they come back into, and that's not what we recommend. We recommend staying on a program, and then, you spread it out. You might need to come in every week for a while till you're out of the crisis. And then we spread it out to, I'm going to say 2 weeks or 4 weeks, and then 6 weeks, and then 3 months. But it's ongoing to stay healthy. What I have is not the quick fix. I'm interested in you having a lifetime of good health. And my clients who've been with me since 92, actually, they call every month or every couple months. They do well. We catch anything before it's an issue, and they feel good all the time. And then they can call anytime if they have a cold or flu, or they're traveling and need other help. We have something for everything. So when we're talking about the layers, I only do what the body tells me, and it's number 1, number 2, and number 3. If I go out of that sequence, you do not have results. For example, if it's a gallbladder and bile duct that's a 2, everything should be a 10, then everything else in your body is a 2. You're tired. You've got to be tired. And if I ask them, I'm tired, I'm bloated. You cannot jump that and give other things, because you'll make them sicker and they'll feel worse. So you start with basics, then you build on that, and then they have better results. Now we could add the Resumex to help with that, and we could have the Wellness Pro. So when we add the technology, now we're going to get you out of trouble faster, and you're going to feel better, and you're going to think, you get so used to feeling bad, you forget what it is to feel good. And my clients who have been on that path, like, they feel good for a while, and then they think they could do it on their own. They keep coming back. I just have had the talk with them. Listen, this isn't working for you. Look at what's happening. And then I mentioned the Wellness Pro. So you got to get on a program, stick with it if you want to get to the other side. They want to lose weight. Well, they can't lose weight because they keep going, they lose it and they keep coming back, going the other way. So now when they've gotten on the Wellness Pro and this program, now they see, that what I was doing never worked for me. I want to do what's right for me.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to I want to talk about the preventative side of this, because this is equally important. We're talking about getting to a state where things are not working for you. You wake up, you're tired. You can't, you know what I'm saying? There's just this constant feeling of hard throughout your day. And what we're doing, though, is addressing one thing at a time. And, I'm not kidding when I said we didn't wake up one day and just get like this. This has been a lifetime of behavioral, habitual, whatever you want to say it, not knowing that this is maybe what you should do. And certainly getting in touch with yourself and your body. And so let's talk a little bit about, what you've seen, how people have changed, Mary Jane, when you've taken the holistic approach with someone and really addressed all of those issues, especially the emotional part. What kinds of changes have you seen?
Amazing changes. So when you address, like I said, whatever it is, and the body will tell me because I'm checking, is it emotional, structural, or nutritional? And we can clear the emotion anytime. That you don't have to go through a process and wait. That'll show, if that's important, that's going to show up right away. But the body will only show the emotion that you could deal with at the time. There might be more, but you're not ready to look at it yet, so your body won't show that. But often a lot of little things will show up first. Sometimes some major things, but often a lot of little things because you don't understand it, you're not quite ready for it. So the body is very intelligent and takes care of you. So when we clear the emotion, and I've had people call and say, "Oh my gosh, can you do that again on me? That helped me so much." And I said, "Well, do whatever your body says." But when we clear the emotion and get people on the path to wellness, where they have a heart energy of 2 and it should be 12 to a 15, and they steadily start to get better, sometimes they don't notice a difference right away. But when I'm doing the muscle testing, I could test how long they've been like that. I can go back and say, how long have you been like this? Could be 6 years, 5 years, off and on. And the idea is the body, as you give the body what it needs, it gets better and better every time. And it's a process. So sometimes people get out of pain or out of the crisis and they think they're better. It's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. So now we've got you out of a crisis. Now we want you to function better and to feel better, to live better. And so then you continue with the process to build their body and their brain. I help people with their jobs, with buying houses, with everything in their lives, not just their physical. So are they happy in your job? What do you want to do? I can muscle test that. If they're not sure what they want to do, but they have an idea, we could help them to, and all I'm doing is guiding and confirming where they're at. And those are big things that, a lot of people don't know I could do that. And when I do that, it's huge for them.
Yeah. You helped me enormously, especially around the office space. But it wasn't just about evaluating the office space. I mean, I think the last time you and I checked in about that space, that building, it scored so low. And then when I told you about the fumes that were coming from the bathroom, it was the point where I had to do something. And, that's stressful in itself when you know that this is supposed to be a safe and a comfortable environment for your staff, and then it isn't, and you do everything possible. But, helping me especially understand, what is the action to take? Of course, I did take that action. I took the action. We're no longer in that space. But then you have to think about how much you're going to invest in the dialogue with, your landlord that didn't listen to you for 4 years, and you also help with that. This is really the important part of this, because left to our own devices, we may continue to take on a battle that we don't need to take on.
Right.
And what does it get us? Not much.
Yeah. It's pretty simple for me. It's either a yes or no. And, I score everything from 0 to 10. And when I'm helping people, it's like even relationships, people will ask me about the relationship. If they score low, it's not the right person. It's plain and simple. It's your energy, not mine. And it's like either move on and I had somebody call once and their boyfriend was gonna move in with them, and she asked me to score it. And it was like a 2 or 3. I said, "It's not gonna work." Well, she did it anyway. And she called me a couple of weeks ago and she said, "By the way, that guy who scored for me and said it wouldn't work, it's not working. He's moving out." You could save yourself a lot of grief and not waste time with the wrong person if you're open to, she really knew, but you wanted it to work. That's usually how it works. People usually really know what the answer is, but they want something else to come out of it.
Yeah. I want to ask you very specifically about one thing, because I've actually seen this at work. We walk around and you go to a doctor and they look at you and your memory doesn't seem to be what it used to be. Your brain doesn't seem to be functioning and they give you a diagnosis. However, you and I and Linda especially, we've worked on that aspect because we're really doing a lot. We're taking in a lot. And I've watched you work with Linda and the Resemax and just sharpen her brain within a half hour, which really kind of says what's really going on in the brain. Is the fact that you're maybe not remembering a million things because you have a million other things. Can you talk to that and what you've seen in that particular area to help people understand they can get rid of that brain fog?
Well, the brain fog, one thing it could be somebody around them that's draining them. Some people live with, their husbands or they have a mother that might have dementia. And so they're getting symptoms of that because energy is infinite. And if somebody is tired, they might not look tired because they are living off your energy. They're drawing your energy. And when that happens, you'll be foggy, spacey, yawning. Sometimes you need nutrition to charge your brain up. Often you do. And the other thing that really helps is the Resemax and Brain Tap. Brain Tap studies have shown it can change dementia in 6 weeks. Without a doubt. That's the study, proven study, and it was done at one of the huge universities. So their goal is to make Brain Tap a medical device so it's used in the hospitals and everywhere because it's so effective. But Brain Tap is definitely a way to improve your memory and change things because people, energy, people are in the wrong jobs, people aren't doing the right thing with their families or their families are drawing off them. They've got kids that are issues, then you get worn down. You have to charge up your brain. And if you do that, you could be on top and on the edge. And that happens all the time today. People are so stressed out. That's the major cause of disease today is stress.
Yeah. We don't even know we're stressed anymore. We have just almost normalized stress.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's like you get up every day and you're in the same mindset, you're in the same space, and you're just not thinking, oh my gosh, I'm walking around stressed out 24/7 because you've normalized it.
Yeah, I ask people, I'll say you're under major stress, and they'll say, I'm not stressed. I'm not stressed. I feel fine. So then I throw some questions at them. Oh yeah. But people get so used to the way they are, they think it's normal. They forget. But the stress that's why Brain Tap, Resemax, Wellness, all those things help with that. If you're stressed out, then your body is worn down. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to talk about a couple of things that don't have a lot of time to go into it, but I do want to talk about not just the wellness counseling that you do, but the SRT light technology as well and the cranial release technology. Light technology, from where I sit, is one of the most fascinating up and coming accelerations of technology. There's so many different things now. And, once upon a time, we were like one or two things. Talk about the light technology, what it does, because it's also an integral part of this.
The light technology, I worked with Dr. Versendahl, and he developed the light technology that we use way back in probably 97, 98, around that time. And I still use that technology. And that technology, when you're using light technology, it takes everything deeper. Say you're using the Resemax and you use the light technology, it takes it deeper. Today, they use laser lights. The laser light takes it deeper. With the Resemax, they shine a laser on you, and that light takes the energy deeper into your system. Well, we have the older technology that we use in the office to take it deeper in the system, but it's I mean, we've done miracles with our
Yeah.
light technology. So the light technology is just another device to go along. Again, it's called neurostacking. Use the light technology, the Resumex, the Wellness Pro, use everything, and people get better faster. The Stimpod, quickly mention the Stimpod.
Yes.
That is for like people who have nerve pain. It could be neuropathy. It could be bladder issues, incontinence. It could be shoulder pain. It could be neck pain, sciatica, any kind of pain in their body or dysfunction. You use the Stimpod on it. Sometimes it only takes, yeah, it usually have results the first time. And then it may take few more visits. It depends on how serious it is. Could be 2 times a week for 4 weeks, but often it's 1 or 2 treatments with that, and they're better. And they doing miracles with that for Parkinson's, MS, to stop the tremors because you work on the brain.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's interesting too, because I don't think up until recently we really put all that together.
Yeah.
You know, we put the idea that there are things that really work and address very specifically frequencies. And aren't we all just a bunch of energy anyway?
Right. And again, with the Stimpod, it's such an amazing little machine that they're just, I have a chiropractor, I know a chiropractor who teaches about the Stimpod. He goes into a doctor's office once a week, and they advertise for the worst patients, neurological patients, to come in to see him. And they get asked the neurologist doctor in the area, do you have patients you can't help or are difficult? Can you send them to me? And they go in and they get them better. They get their legs moving, their arms, get them out of tremors in one session. Now they still have to have more treatment, but he does the worst to show people that they can get better. It's pretty amazing. It's like miracles. So these are all things they're just learning, that's new. I mean, it hasn't been done before.
You know, I want to tell everybody, go to maryjanemack.com. But when you go there, if you want to hear or read some of this, go to the reviews section of the website, and you're going to see multiple stories there of people and their experience and what they've done. I mean, everything that we're talking about today, people have experienced. And with that experience, they have gone to become warriors on a new pathway to live an amazing life. And, you know, some of these people and the stories that folks write, I just love the one about the benign brain tumor. I mean, there's just so many things here, so many stories here.
Yeah, we have some more to put up there now.
Yeah, but you should put them all up.
Yeah.
But they are stories. I mean, when people write a review, they usually click a button, hit a thing, and write 2 sentences. People are writing paragraphs about the results they're taking or getting in life.
And the other thing I wanted to mention, Pat,
Sure.
For the technology, the Resumex, we do offer, we do have it in the office if somebody wants to buy it, but the others they have to come in the office for. But I wanted people to know that I have clients all over the United States.
That's what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people can work with you remotely.
Yes, we do phone consultations. So most of our people are phone consultations, and the other come in for visits. And sometimes we have people that come in for a 2 or 3 day from across the country, come in to spend 2 or 3 days with us for intensive care.
Yeah. Well, Mary Jane, thank you so much for today. There's more to come, but please go to maryjanemack.com. And nobody knows this better than you. You're seeing the aftermath of the pandemic. And what I mean by that is, for a lot of people, the phrase is, it's over, let's move on. But for a lot of other people, it may be over, but I really can't move on yet. I need to get some help. So thank you for everything, Mary Jane. What is the phone number one more time? How do people call your office?
888-777-4232, and you'll be talking to Nancy. She'll take good care of you.
Yes, she will. For all of you out there, if you don't know which direction you want to go, please ask. If Mary Jane is not able to do it, she'll get you to somebody that can, but you will
Absolutely.
change your life. Absolutely. We'll see y'all next time.
Okay.